Good morning. Welcome to Unity of Modesto. And we are a grateful bunch, so let's all sing, I'm So Grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude in me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful, I'm so grateful. Love myself so much. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love me so much, that you can love me so much, that you can start loving me. I love myself so much that I can love you so much, that you can love you so much, that you can start loving me. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit. Thank you for my health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, wherever you may be. There's a few of us sat here with our smiling faces, all in our places. And there'll be a few of you lying in bed, sitting on the sofa, eating donuts, drinking coffee, and having a wonderful time. Unless, of course, you didn't put your clock right, and then you'll be all to pot for the whole day. But this time of year is fun because if you come, you're an hour early. Next time, if you come, you'll come just as I'm saying, well, that's it for today, folks. So this is good morning. I'm Jill Loving. I was a spiritual leader at Unity of Merced, and now I'm helping out at Unity of Modesto. So good morning, everybody. Have a wonderful first Sunday of the month. We have some announcements. Do we have any new faces? I'm not sure whether I've seen your face before, but you're not waving and saying, yes, I'm a new face, so only new to me. Good morning, everybody. Good, glad to have you here. It's birthday Sunday. Have we got any November babies here? There's a November baby. You can stay there. That's okay. We're not going to drag you up here. Come over here with the other November birthday. Here we go. I don't know whether the camera will see it if we go any further. Okie dokie. You stay where you are. You're good. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. You're wonderful. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you. You're wonderful. God is blessing you now. Yay! Well done, November babies, and any more November babies out there. All my brothers and sisters, none of them are in November. There's usually one, but not this month. Okay, we have prayer programs. So if you would like prayer support after service, they are available. There's myself, there's Nancy, and there's Irene. So we're in good shape. Silent auction is coming around. Our thankfulness potluck will be November the 21st. So there will be lots of goodies, eating goodies, and lots of prize goodies as well. There's going to be a silent auction. There's baskets full of all kinds of lovely things. So do come along that Sunday, bring a friend. It's a wonderful time to bring a friend along, and they can go home with a prize if they're very lucky. Or not a prize, but a thing from the auction. Yes, it's not exactly winning, but near enough. It's like winning. That feels like winning, yeah. Even though it cost you an arm and a leg, you've still won. Yay! It's the spirit that's important, yes. If you need to contact church for information, to leave a message, to leave your tithe, or whatever else, bring stuff to the pantry, the church number is 209-576-5433. And Jackie is here. Are you here this week, Jackie? Yeah. Yes, she'll be here this week. She's having a little break later on this month. But she's here 10:30 to 12:30. But call first just to make sure. Okay, that's all the business over and done with. So now we'll do the invocation. Have we got the invocation? Yes, we have, because I don't know it off my heart. Imagine such a thing. So say with me with energy, I am now in the presence of pure being and immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I acknowledge thy presence and thy power, O blessed Spirit, and in thy divine wisdom now erase my mortal limitations, and from thy pure substance of love bring into manifestation my world according to thy perfect law. So it is. I'm waiting to see what comes next. No, it's not that next. Not yet. Okay, announcements I've done. Daily word, it should be. That's okay. We'll go back to that and I'll do daily word. Okay? Today's daily word is divine order. Life is in constant motion, even if that motion is imperceptible to me. When I feel stuck in a place or impatient with my progress, I consider the gradual yet orderly pattern of the seasons as they change. The single golden leaf I notice one day will become part of a blaze of color just a few weeks later. The brisk chill in the morning air soon will lead to biting cold and snow, if we're lucky. The first tender seedlings of spring will bring bright blooms and a verdant canopy, followed by the long, sultry days of summer. Little by little, one season turns into the next. My growth and understanding may happen in much the same way. Even if I don't notice changes day to day, my life is always in motion and in order, because I live in harmony with divine order. And from James 2:22, you see that faith was active along with his works, and faith was brought to completion by the works. Daily word is divine order. I think we'll move to meditation music now. Thank you. Thank you. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. And so I invite you to relax into your chair. And wherever you are at home, relax into wherever you are. Here you can put your feet on the ground. You're centered on Mother Earth. Put aside anything that may be distracting you in your hands, and put aside anything that may be distracting you. Take a deep breath. Check through your body, make sure you're relaxed everywhere. Let those shoulders lift, that spine. Chair. Seasons come and go. Yesterday's harvest provides today's nourishment. Thoughts now in the past continue to inform us. Prayers we have practiced bring forth fruit. We begin a fresh period of prayer in thanksgiving for all that has come and gone, all that remains as a blessing. So let's breathe in an atmosphere of God's perfect peace. Out. Release accumulated tensions and distractions. Become aware of peace, perfect peace, in the next breath. As you breathe in, think, God is my source of peace. Eat peace. All that has been before this moment is now harmonized in the light of divine love. By the light of that love and divine wisdom, I know the way to go. Although the paths I walked before this moment may point towards what comes next, I know I find my way by the light of divine wisdom. God is wisdom, the light that illuminates the path ahead. I walk forward thoughtfully, intentionally, and intuitively trusting I know the way to go. All conditions are harmonized and healed in the presence of God light. I choose life moment by moment, breath by breath. I am present in God, the fullness of life, in which conditions, thoughts, and behaviors give way to the truth of my wholeness. I am wholeness. I am life. I am well-being. Silence. Out of the sink back to this place. So that's more comfortable. Right, our theme for this month is families. So my title is Family Feud. See, that all resonates with you. It's one of my husband's programs that he watches on the TV that you can actually follow without actually being able to see what goes on. I have to go out of the house while it's on. It drives me crazy. That and The Price is Right and all those screaming people. Oh dear, but he loves it, so it's fine. Okay, so Family Feud gives me an excuse to introduce you to my family. I was the eldest of 7. My poor sainted mother. This is me. And these are school photographs, and they're all taken when we're all about the same age. So we all look like little peas in a pod. So this is Jill, number 1, and this is Robert, and this is Michael, and this is Monica, and this is Helen, and David, and Abigail. That's my dad, who was walking me down the aisle the first time I got married. And when he died, my mum wanted a picture of him, and she said, we're going to use the one of him walking you down the aisle. And I'm thinking, oh, every time my brothers and sisters look at it, there I'll be and not them. But the very clever photographer took me out. He rubbed me out of the picture. I thought, oh, good, and put a hedge there instead. This is my mum. She was 86, I think, when she died in 2011, which I will always remember because it was the year of the knees for me. So I was having my knee done, and she assured me that she would be better and out of hospital. But she didn't. And that was okay. My sister said, don't you dare come home. Get your knees done. She'll be fine either way. My dad came back from the Second World War, very pleased to be alive, and I was born 72 years ago. My dad was from a Catholic family, and my mum studied to become a Catholic while he was away. So she had converted by the time he survived and came back. Nice demonstration of prayers answered, don't you think? And she surely did. I'm sure they decided to have a big family. My dad was the youngest of 7, so he had no idea what a big family was like. And my mum was the youngest of 2, and her brother was 8 years older, so she had no idea either. And they obviously thought, oh, wouldn't it be lovely to have a big family? Have you heard that? Oh, wouldn't it be lovely to have a big family? Yes, as long as they're not yours. That was my take on it anyway. So I've explained they're all about the same age. The gaps are roughly 2 years and 2 years and 2 years and 2 years and 4 years and 4 years. As my dad said when he stopped being a butcher and became a restaurateur, I've worked out what causes it now. And they'd all look at him and say, you don't really mean that. No, it doesn't really. I left home at 18. Abigail, the youngest, was just 18 months, 2 years old, not very old. I set off to work at Bristol University as a lab technician 30 miles away. The others were 16, 14, 12, 10, 9, 8, I don't know. I've lost track now. So I missed a lot of the teenage angst that must have been going on in that big house while I was away. My sister Monica, who's in the middle, we all know what middle feel. Never mind the youngest, the middles have it really hard, I think. She virtually brought Abigail up. She looked after Abigail because at this point my dad became a restaurateur instead of a butcher, and my mum could go off to work with him in the evenings. So he was the welcome and greet and sometimes the chef and whatever, and my mum sat behind the bar. You could just about see her over the bar. And when there was nobody there, she knitted. There were 2 big brouhahas. Do you know what a brouhaha is? Yeah, okay. 2 big brouhahas in our family that caused splits. The first was when 2 siblings decided one sibling wasn't looking after our mum the way he should have been, and Monica got caught in the middle. I knew nothing about it, thank you God, for ages after, because I was doing a very, very horrible job, and nobody thought that I needed to be told about all this. So I was very grateful. The second time was when Monica and her husband decided that they would sell the house that we had all been brought up in and my mum had given to my sister. Most of the siblings forgot or never knew that Monica had to take out a mortgage that would cover the house for the rest of us just to put the roof back on, or at least repair the roof, because it was a listed building. And in England, a listed building means that if it's got a slate roof from Wales, and the slate comes from Wales, that's what you've got to put back on. If you've got real lead flashing, that's what you've got to put on. Never mind it's 3 stories up from the street and nobody would ever know what was up there. Oh no. So that was what they did, and then they decorated the whole place from top to bottom, which hadn't been done since we moved in. And I didn't want the house, and actually neither did anybody else. They were all having hurt feeling instead. Anyway, Monica and them made a packet of money and retired on the proceeds. And if they'd ever speak to them again, well, there we go. That's life, isn't it? Irreconcilable differences, it seemed. So at the moment, only Abigail and I talk to Monica. Robert maybe talks to Michael and David, but he doesn't actually talk to anybody very much, including his own children. He has some mental health issues, and the best thing with Robert is just to be left alone, thank you very much. Okay, Michael, I think, keeps in touch with David. Helen, I don't think anybody keeps in touch with Helen. She lives half the time in Spain in a cave house, which sounds dreadful, but it's actually really lovely, and the rest of the time in a Winnebago in England. I'm closest to Monica. Even though Monica was the bane of my life when I was 18, she turned out to be the saint of my life later on, so we're very close and we keep in touch every month. She's the only one who's been to America to see me, along with my mum, which was very brave of her. Both of them, actually. Families are complicated. I don't suppose they have to be big to be complicated either. I had a very wise older cousin who shared with me that you can't be expected to get on with so many disparate people all stuck in one home. And she was one of 9, so she knew. You can love them, and you must love them because they're your family, but you might not like them or like what they do. And that's okay. Well, that was a huge relief to me because at 16 I was finding Monica, 10 or 12, very, very annoying. She thought that I was the bee's knees, and of course I knew I wasn't. She thought that everything I did was just what she wanted to do, exactly what I did not want. You don't want your 10-year-old sister wanting to be you, do you? No, you're working very hard being you all on your own. Is it any surprise that I turned out to be very independent, very good at organising things, and very good at getting things to happen? No surprise at all. Oh, and I was good with kids as well. I remember when I was interviewed for teacher training and they discovered that I was the eldest of 7. So they said, well, I bet you love children. I said, well, I don't know about love them, but I know how they work. That seemed to be enough to get into college. Enough about my family. What about the Holy Family, as the Catholic Church calls it? Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. Well, they started off pretty rocky, don't you think? An angel told me I was pregnant. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet that went down well in Nazareth. Mm-hmm. Well done, that man Joseph, for standing by her, you think? But then they came back to the village with tales of shepherds and angels and wise men and persecution and flight to Egypt. I bet they thought she'd gone away with the fairies. Can you imagine in a small village? Oh, their poor parents. And then young Jesus turns out to be a really precocious child. Very pleasant, I'm sure, but precocious. Arguing with the rabbis, presuming to teach them what the Torah meant, going off on his own in Jerusalem. Can you imagine what he was like at home? Behaviour-wise, fine, I'm sure, but smart. It's really hard when your kids are way, way smarter than you. Ask my sister Monica. She had a daughter who said, Mum, if you're cold, you put a cardigan on. I'm all right. Okay, I can just imagine that kind of conversation. Can't have been easy. And then Dad goes to all that trouble, get him trained up into a really good, solid career as a carpenter. And what does he do? God's told me I've got to go off on a mission and be an itinerant teacher. Yep, I bet that went down well. I bet my bottom dollar this nice Jewish boy had a nice Jewish wife too. Very likely Mary Magdalene with him. And off they went and left the kids with Grandma and Grandpa, don't you think? Sounds about right. Of course, in actuality, we know absolutely nothing about the birth and the early life of Jesus. That was all put together long after he was dead and was to serve an entirely different purpose, nothing to do with what actually happened. But we can all speculate, just like they did. And what about his next family, the disciples? Do you imagine that was all plain sailing? 12 disparate gentlemen on the road together 24/7 with no visible means of support? Not a recipe for peace and contentment. Bit like the rock bands that go off on the road for months at a time. They're all best buddies when they set off and they're all excited with this project. And by the end of the 6 months, they're all about ready to kill each other. And with Jesus, you add in Jesus' family, you add in persecution by the government and the Jewish hierarchy, and it all finishes up with the crucifixion. No wonder they needed the intervention of the Holy Spirit to get going again afterwards. But what Jesus taught, his radical message of put God first in all your affairs and love even or especially your enemies, was then and is now a tough message to hear. Never mind live. But we do our best, don't we? As always, the right and perfect ideas and information came to me for this talk. Because I'm in the circle of friends of Unity, for the princely donation of $30 a month, I receive hot off the press one of their little booklets. So this is where we hope on. We did put it in here, didn't we? Get it out this. No, it's not in there. There you go, the best laid plans of mice and men. Oh, well, you'll have to have that story another time, because I certainly can't remember it. But this little booklet's called The Spirit of Family, and it's got all kinds of stories from different families and all the difficulties that these families have encountered and dealt with and come out through the other end. Fathers realizing that this was not what they needed to be and they needed to leave. Mothers having difficult children, adopting difficult children. And you just think, oh, life is hard enough without adding problems. But it's what makes you grow. And the last story is about whatever your family is or you expect them to be, you've got to do the inside work before you can expect them to be able to be what you need them to be. And by the time you've done the inside work, then you're not as needy as you might have been. And then you can take your family for what they can give or what they can support, and you can give them what they need. It's a two-way street. So bless my cousin who explained that loving and liking are two very different things. Bless Al-Anon for teaching me that I can love and listen, but I don't have to tolerate your unacceptable behavior. I can love and listen, but I don't have to fix you. Of course, you want to help your family in any way you can, but it's not a God-given right that you have to do it. I can love and listen, but living with me may not be the right thing for you if you're too sick, too frail, too heavy, too young, too old, too many of you, even if you are my family. You cannot care for another if you don't take care of yourself. During the pandemic, Jim and I had gotten used to being at home all the time. It took me a while to sort of get back to the idea that I don't need to be there all the time. He doesn't actually need me all the time. And he's perfectly happy to stay at home. Going out to dinner now is getting to be a bit of a struggle. It's difficult for him to negotiate his way in and out of the car and around, and then he gets to a restaurant, and then it's really noisy, so he can't hear what anybody's saying, and then he can't cut up his food, and then when he does eat, he drops it all down the front of it and embarrassed. It's much easier for him not to go. And he's 90. It's okay if he never goes out to dinner again. It's fine. But it's not fine for me. I need to be out and about and up to stuff. Not wickedness, just stuff. So I have instigated Jill's days out. So September I went to Asilomar for the day with a friend, and last month I went to Gallo 3 consecutive Fridays, which was brilliant. I did the opera, which you would have hated, the ballet, which you would have hated even more, and then the Eagles tribute band. So I could sing all the way through at the top of my voice with my mask on, and nobody could hear a thing, and everybody else was singing as well, and it was just great. And it was nice and short. We were all out by 10 o'clock before our bedtimes. So they had that audience well and truly worked out. This month I'm taking a neighbour to Chaffee Zoo, and December it's Christmas, so there'll be all kinds of things going on. What about our family of humanity? That seems to be in a fairly parlous state at the moment. Our country appears to be deeply divided over almost everything. I was busy pruning roses yesterday with some people from Livingston, and I had a whole lecture about how you didn't need to get vaccinated if you were healthy and taking plenty of vitamin D. And anyway, it's only 1% of people that are dying. I'm thinking, well, that's all very fine and good as long as you're not the 1%, I suppose. Anyway, I just carried on clipping my roses, and well, there we go. There's part of the problem. Never mind. Consensus seems to be hard to come by, and your basic values seem to be so diametrically opposed. Add into that the profusion of dubious sources of information, and I could be concerned for the future. History tells us loud and clear that the present situation is not healthy for democracy. With all its faults, it is still my preferred model. The American family seems to have lost sight of Lady Liberty's inscription, which I love. The Statue of Liberty poem, as it's known, was written by Emma Lazarus and is named the New Colossus. The Statue of Liberty poem is actually now engraved, is a sonnet, and it was written to raise money for the building of the base and is now engraved on a bronze plaque and inside the Statue of Liberty. Apparently, Emma Lazarus refused to write it to begin with, but her friend talked her into it and said, the new people coming to this country will be inspired by seeing the statue of Lady Liberty welcoming them ashore. So this is what she wrote. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbour that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden. The beginning of the Statue of Liberty poem refers to the Colossus of Rhodes, which was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It was actually a statue of the Greek god Helios, which stood over 100 feet tall and was the tallest of its time, and it was destroyed by an earthquake in 226 BC. So the Statue of Liberty poem refers to this new giant statue, likened to the old that also represented the god of light. And she welcomes all castaways, misfits, and homeless types dreaming of freedom. I think we need a few more of these along our southern border as a reminder of our true ideals. And did you notice that it was all feminine energy behind the poem, the mothering, nurturing part of humankind? So how do we heal our families? Well, there's really only one answer, and that's prayer. Your prayer may lead you to a more active role towards the perceived problems, but that calm energy of prayer is what makes the difference. So let's take a breath. As we breathe in, consider our own families and see them healed from whatever rifts or illness or discomfort or distress or whatever it is that they need to solve. Breathe that thought into our country. Into the world. Know that sometimes breath, all is fine. Might look like a mess to you. Breathe in and relax. So we take a breath and we say Namaste, Bismillah, Shalom, peace, love, and blessings. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love. We are many pictures, we are many colors, each one different from the other, but we are entwined with one another in one great tapestry. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and
the Christ in me greets the Christ in me. In one great family weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together, together in love.
Thank you, Joy. Weave us together in unity and love. And so we all join together for our offertory prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Sing with me. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need.
So we are woven together in unity and love. What's the matter, little ducklings? Doing? Bless it. Oh, right. Okay. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what you're upset about, little ducklings. Mother Duck's not doing the blessing, probably. Oh, dear me. Like it matters. Goodness me. Dear sweet spirit, we give thanks for these gifts, this laughter, these offerings, and we take them and we bless them, and they go forth and they do the will in the work, as we know. Because we're the ones doing the will in the work. Thank you, God. Amen. Yay. Amen. And now we'll finish with the peace song and the prayer for protection. Last chance to sing out loud.
Let there be peace on earth, and now it begins with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that is meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and though it begin with me. Together,
Go out knowing that the light
of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Yay, God.
Good job, good job.
Yeah. Well, once you kind of break the ice, you know, you get the first one. Yes. Yeah. I imagine I hear everybody else. Well, again,
He certainly did.
so I put it on. Have you ever bought anything?
eBay. I buy from eBay.
Have you ever sold anything?
No. I tried Pegasus, but got absolutely no response.
I've been like wanting to sell for 15 years. It's new. I was very famous. And a worldwide. It's in his. And I had it trained, special glass. And it's gorgeous. And then he also had signed by the photographer. And then there's a book. It has 19 roses. And I had found it on the line. They were going for about $400. Yeah. So I thought, well, if I threw it in the book, also saw it. Charge $400. I tell myself, she said, you can't do it. Anybody coming to the house. It doesn't have